will Donald Trump get the sympathy vote?
After, of course, he's contracted coronavirus, is what you're referring to, Jenny. It's certainly been interesting to watch from over here, from over this side of the Atlantic. Michael?
The immediate reaction in the polls seems to have been adverse for Donald Trump, which I must say has slightly surprised me. I have a feeling, reading the American public as best I can, that there will be a bit of a resurgence in Trump support and that there will be a little bit of a closing of the gap with Biden. I think a big mistake has been made today, allowing Trump effectively to pull out of the next debate because they changed the rules. They were going to make it virtual. However, at this stage, it looks as though the gap between Trump and Biden is too great to cover in the remaining days before the election. So I would expect a closer result than the polls are suggesting at the moment, but probably nonetheless a Biden victory.
Gillian, Donald Trump described his contracting coronavirus as a blessing, as a gift from God. Was it a gift from God for Boris Johnson?
I certainly don't think he'd describe it like that. In fact, I don't think he has described it like that. And, you know, and there's a serious point, actually, that there's a lot of people living with long COVID, which can affect anyone at any age, and we don't talk about that nearly enough. So anybody who thinks that, you know, sort of letting the cases rip and, you know, carrying on is a good idea.
So do you think Donald Trump was wrong to say that then? Do you think he's behaved irresponsibly?
Oh, I mean,
Come on, Gillian. Say what you think.
Donald Trump, I mean, I think in the US, in terms of the question in the election, I think most people have decided it's so polarised. It's an unbelievably polarised society. And I think, you know, will he get the sympathy vote? I very much doubt it. But no, do I think he's been blessed and God has given him the answer? Not necessarily, no. He's lucky to have survived it without any, or it seems to be very low symptoms. So, you know, for that, you know, he will be thankful. But that doesn't mean that his case is going to be the same for everybody else's case, which is kind of, you know, what he might be saying. If you know, take this drug, look, everybody, this is nothing to worry about. That is completely wrong.
You think he's wrong to say that?
I think it is wrong because, well, Donna will tell you, she knows much more than I do, but, you know, long COVID does exist. It affects people in different ways, different age groups as well, and it's very debilitating.
How do you think he's handled it?
My advice to Donald Trump would be to isolate and follow the rules. The rest of it...
For a long time.
Do you know what I mean? Isolate, follow the rules. I'm not sure that Donald Trump would be anybody that I'd be listening to pronouncing on COVID.
Right, well, you heard it here. Andy?
I think that's brilliant advice. If he could isolate beyond November, whatever the election day is, that'd be even better. But to answer Jenny's question, how can you have sympathy for somebody who is still infectious but drags security staff on a drive around for his own purposes? I mean, how could you have sympathy for somebody who does that? How could you have sympathy for someone who's made a virtue of not wearing a mask all year, holding rallies without social distancing? You know, somebody said rightly before that politicians need to lead by example through this and through their actions do the right thing. That's what the job brings with it. That's what you should do. And he's done the complete opposite, and he put his own health at risk, but he actually has put the health of millions of Americans at risk through this. So I'll make it plain, I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. I think the world will be a better place if he's removed with a landslide next month. I think we'll begin to get better politics around the world. You know, we've had 2 pandemics, haven't we? This year, COVID we've talked about, but we've had a pandemic growing over the last decade of xenophobia, nationalism, discrimination, hate, and we've seen that come to a head this year on the streets of Minneapolis. You know, this world, in my view, has kind of, you know, it needs a big correction here. We need to come out of this with a very different mindset. And I just think, you know, it starts, I hope, with the removal of Donald Trump next month.
Yanis, do you think he'll get the sympathy vote?
Look, I agree with Andy that it is impossible to sympathise with somebody like Donald Trump. But where I disagree is with the premise of the question, if I may. Donald Trump doesn't do sympathy, does not follow the politics of sympathy. He does not trade on sympathy. He doesn't want sympathy. He trades on envy, on discontent, on anger, which he manipulates magnificently, as we have seen. You saw what he's done. He's not asked for the people, his supporters' sympathy. He asked for their envy. Look at how great I am. You know, I even managed to defeat COVID with the help of medicine, and I will give you the stuff for free. This is where we are, where we've been since 2016, perhaps a bit earlier than that. We've, you know, we've created circumstances of austerity for the many and socialism for the financiers that created discontent at an industrial scale. And people like Trump, Bolsonaro, Modi, Le Pen, Salvini, Orban, and so on, trade on this. They do not want our sympathy. What we need to do, we must change the circumstances that beget the energy that feeds them.